Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kura Isagami, your resident Tinkerer and Medarotter, and this is the Medarot News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet fighting robot series. Well, friends and fellow Medarotters across the globe, it is that time yet again. It is collab time with Medarot S, as it seems to have kind of veered off any particular rhythm or schedule that we have originally initially established as like a once every other month. Now it's just kind of whenever, which isn't too bad, honestly. But, not gonna lie, the friends that Medarot has made through the years has honestly been astounding just in the last 3 years alone. This time around is most certainly no exception in this case, as at long last, Medarot is having a collaboration and special one-time event with a very popular manga and anime series, A Certain Scientific Railgun. This time around, with this very popular series, we are going to be focusing primarily on a lot of female-based collab models, which, being completely honest, we actually have not seen very heavily, with the exception of the Evangelion-based models, which were all gender N, or maybe even Heartroll from the Rockman collaboration, which was even an event reward on top of that. We really didn't have a lot of female-based collab bots and kind of left them out of the loop, which meant a lot of very powerful skills that could be had or that were introduced really were kind of left out there on left field for mono-female teams. This time around, that's no longer going to be the case, as all the models introduced, even with the exception of one being male, is going to be bringing a lot of fantastic skills to the table, not just for first-time introduction to the series, but also to bring a lot of very powerful skills to female teams in particular, to make them even more viable on the field when mono-female or even female-only is required in combat. That being said, let's go ahead and jump right into what was announced with this week for the first wave of the Scientific Railgun collab with A Certain Scientific Medarot. Starting in the lineup, we are getting 2 of the 4 collab models to start us off this week. The first of which is TKR-0 Mikoto Ace, with the kits of HC Buster, Railgun as iconic and befitting, Hyper Thunder, biped legs, and the leg ability of Weapon Master, which already makes her a very powerful and well-rounded model right to start us off with and whet the appetite. HC Buster is a brand new skill being introduced as displayed here, and basically explaining it in very simple terms, it's more or less like HC Blade or Hypercharge Blade that we got with Full Power Grid from the Gridman Universe collab, but simply put as a shooting skill. Putting it another way, think of it as Charge Buster 3.0 in this case. Consume up to 30% charge upon use, but you get triple your Metaforce charge gauge as bonus damage upon attacking. After her, we have the introduction of TKR-01 Monochrome Ace, with a kit of Mobile Cooler, Tide Blow, Cross Shock, Flight Legs, and the leg ability of Soaring. Now, unlike Mikoto Ace, Monochrome Ace is introducing a new skill and a new leg ability on top of that. Mobile Cooler in this case is basically Cooler plus Mobile Boost all kind of factored into one, so you can get both Cool Boost and Mobile Boost at the same time, 50% to each with just one use instead of 2 separate parts. The leg ability of Soaring, as mentioned, also is a brand new skill, which, simply put, basically buffs all leg stats minus armor and heavy limit for every melee skill that is used, stacking up to 5 times. That means even if she may not be super powerful, she may have very light armor or very high mobility or evade, which she has very notably high evade if I'm being completely honest, she will get particularly craftier and dodgier for every melee skill she uses. And given that both of her arms are indeed melee skills, well, that kind of speaks for itself what she can do. It is also worth noting with Monochrome Ace that this will be the first ever instance of cross-shock, not necessarily as a permanent base model, but also for the first instance of being on females. Whereas the original we got on Hell Magnet was male-based, and even if he is permanent, Monochrome Ace isn't. I apologize for my wording. For female types, this is definitely going to be a big go-to model, given how it is an incredibly powerful and versatile part to make use of. As for the other two, Queen Honey and Accelerator, both will be coming in the coming weeks. Queen Honey next week, and Accelerator to wrap us up in the final week of the collaboration, once everything is nearing its end and its finale. With the rerun banners that we have going on this week, it's going to be a little lower key, but still mostly focusing on like a Girls' Day Out kind of thing, which is kind of to be the whole theme of this particular collab specifically. Starting that lineup for rerun banners, we have IDL-04 Cheerful Bunny 2 with Precognition, Power Hammer, Overcharge, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Brilliance. We have CMO-02 Curly Veil with Slip, Rifle, Conceal, Multi-Legs, and the leg ability of Extra Magazine. Thirdly, we have ONH0 Sada Shinahime, or Sadahime for short as I call her, with Dominion, Effect Clear, Hold, Biped Legs, and the Blow Beat leg ability. And then last but not least, RMM0 Memoro Maple with Cybercore, Survivor, Confusion, Float Legs, and the Captor leg ability. Now, even though, of course, as standard rule with all other collaborations, the collab models are going to be the big go-to and priority first. You're going to want to shoot for those before you do anyone else. But if you do have Lady Luck on your side and do end up pulling the collaboration bots early, honestly, all 4 of these models you could really never go wrong with choosing. Sadahime, for instance, for a very fantastic support skill you really can't ever go wrong with using, especially if you want to balance the terrain in your favor. Curly Veil for fast multi-legs and an extra head use on top of that. Memorial Maple if you really like messing with the enemy strategies with ailments, or even Cheerful Bunny 2 if you do follow the resident cooking metatuber on the official YouTube channel, and just love to support her however way you can. And even then, she is still a very nasty force to be reckoned with as long as she's on the field. With the Fierce Battles we have this week, it's going to be a little lower key for the most part. Not necessarily anybody new or particularly theme-based, but still some very nice models to be had all the same. Starting up the lineup for that is GBG-01 Fret Beat with Fight Boost, Beam Sword, Fire, Biped Legs, and the Generator leg ability. After her, we have GBB-01 Slap Beat with Shoot Boost, Beam, Thunder Shot, Flight Legs, and the Radiator leg ability. And last but not least, everyone's favorite really useful engine and railgunner, the original railgunner of Medarot S, JOK-0 Shoopord with Heater, Beam, Power Rifle, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Aim. Now, even though Fret Beat and Slap Beat are both very handy and definitely worth farming for the sake of having their parts ready for female-based teams, I would honestly have to give MVP of the week to Shooport. That's not biased talking because I am a very big railroad enthusiast in particular, but just for the fact that ever since the game's launch 3 years ago, Shooport has been one of those models that is not only free to be collected and farmed, but also for the fact that he has one of the most powerful free, and I emphasize that because it's a fierce battle, free power rifles that you could obtain early on. And even in early games, that power rifle can carry you through a lot of mid-game or early-game content while you're still holding out and learning. Even if it isn't fully capped at 5-star, fantastic part you really can't ever go wrong with using. Head, other arm and legs, maybe not so much, but for the power rifle alone, that makes him a million times necessary and worth farming. Fret Beat and Slap Beat, again, are definitely worth collecting for sake of having them, but I would encourage putting a lot of effort towards Shooport if you decide not to participate in the Wave 1 of the event. Now, with light of the event itself and the collab, I am going to highlight a couple other features that were mentioned. In particular, they did also release teasers for paid skins that are going to be available as bundles in the convenience store. In particular here, we will be seeing Shushu Pop 2 skin Queen Honey, which we will be getting next week. And on top of that, I do suspect we will be seeing Shushu 2 as well, to kind of highlight and go hand in hand with that. This week in particular, since we're getting Mikoto Ace and Monochrome Ace, I do believe we will be seeing the Leah 2 Mikoto skin and the Bun 2 Monochrome skin in the paid shop already. Normally these bundles tend to go for about 3,000 yen each, which roughly equates to about $25-30 USD if conversion still is relatively low right now. So not necessarily super expensive, as it does come with a set of rubies each that you can use toward pulls, but kind of take at your own risk, essentially, if it's something that you find that you really want or want to collect, as they really don't do anything more than just aesthetics. But not all the same, they are still very cute skins to be had, and I do really look forward to seeing those on the field as the respective bots do get released through the collab. Now, as always, with collaborations, we also now officially have access to super rare Medarots in collab skins. Starting the lineup with that, we are getting both Ibuki and Ranuncula to start us off with the SR Medarots. In particular, the new skills they are introducing to the board with their particular set loadouts. For Ibuki, she will negate cooldown penalties for 1 turn. In addition to this, she will buff your shoot resist by 100% and your melee resist by 50% also for 1 turn, if I did read the translation correctly. Which means she's going to be very good for guaranteeing that you don't get punished or nuked for using very powerful skills that leave you unable to dodge or defend, such as, say, Hyper Beam or Ghost Shot or Ghost. This will be a very good way to guarantee that you not only will be able to tank the blow, but also minimize the damage as much as possible while you are using it. Ranuncula, on the other hand, will buff the cooldown stat for every use of a melee skill, maxing up to 3 stacks, which means for every skill you use, she will be progressively getting faster and even nastier to cool down and do another skill, making her even more of a nuisance on the field as long as she's allowed to remain there. In addition, we are also getting daily missions coming back once again, as we've actually had a pretty consistent run of seeing these more often, and really all these are just extra daily missions you can do for extra ruby shards and event tickets. Right now, they're really not super hard to obtain. Change your music BGM, color a Medarot with a paint chip, do PvP, complete a mission, do a story mission, or whatever. Very easy stuff, honestly. You really can't ever go wrong with doing these, and it's honestly something you can do on the side, literally for no extra effort or required for extra rewards. We're also getting the Wave 1 of the collab Super Invasion, so I suspect we will be getting at least 2 or 3 of these. The first one, of course, highlighting Mikoto Ace and Monochrome Ace in this case. So, that being said, I assume the modifiers are going to be the same, just mostly overclocked enemies, so go in with your best teams, nuke them, and claim those free 10 rubies and Cyplasium and the profile banner, just for the sake of showing even if you don't walk out with the Medarots or the Medarotters, you still have something to show for the event and enjoy from it. On the event itself, as always, there are still a lot of rewards to be had and earned for those that do participate. Whether you are a free-to-player or a heavy whaler, all the same, lots of very lucrative and wonderful events to be found here. Starting the lineup on that, we do have access to a collab skin for Medarotter Hotori, who is the handler for Curly Veil in the story and in the game, as a character that we have met fairly recently and not too long ago, as a character that kind of stuck around as the new mechanic of the cast. In addition, we also have access to earning the Esper Medal, which is a sniper nature with a mastery in melee, shooting, and support, with leg masteries in biped, floating, and flying based legs. So already right from start, a very powerful medal to be had, and on top of this, Metaforce 2 is static, or stasis rather, which means it is an AoE nuke that inflicts thunder on everybody and buys you just a couple extra turns to recoup and take that breath if you find that things are starting to get a little hairy. You can also earn up to 2 commemorative profile banners in just the first wave alone, and on top of that, event tickets and diamonds that you can redeem for skins in the convenience shop. And they did also want to make a point to notice that Cheerful Bunny 2 will be getting a collab skin as well that you can purchase through this method in the event with the diamonds that you earn. Or if you have them already, you can already go and buy it right from day one as the event does drop. In terms of bonuses, it will be milestone based, which means pure sets are encouraged. For Medarots, of course, Mikoto Ace and Monochrome Ace will give you that highest bonus at 15% up per part equipped. The highlighted rerun banners of Cheerful Bun 2, Sarahime, Memorial Maple, and Curly Veil at an approximately 9% bonus per part each equipped, your OG Cross at 8% bonus per part, and the Fierce Battles at 6%. For the Medarotters, again, 20% up for the SR Medarotters being highlighted, 10% for Medarotter Hotori, the collab skin, and 5% up for all other Medarotters that are highlighted. So honestly, I am okay with this. Milestone events are usually pretty easy to farm and complete because all you have to do is just let it run because there are no extra bonuses to be had. And as long as you go with pure sets, you really don't have to do much else more than that. Now, they did also highlight that they are bringing back the boss battle mechanic that was introduced with the Sappho Behemoth and Basalt event that was found a few weeks ago. And I believe they probably learned from all the negative backlash and the complaints that were found with the event, such as it being very difficult to stack or collect those boss fights, and the event rewards were really just too expensive and too hard to go after unless you farm specifically for those bots, because it was just so heavy RNG based. And I did put a video on that too, just kind of voicing the general opinion of what people had about it at that point. But it seems like they did take that feedback to heart, and they thought about it and fixed it up. Because despite it coming back as another new mechanic once again, because this event is milestone based, as you see, there's only one set of bonuses. What you see here is it. End of story, period. So as long as you go in with a team equipped with these respective parts to the best of your ability, that's really all you need, because these bonuses will carry through regular levels and boss fights as the event does continue. On the community front, we are still always looking for translators to assist us with any fan translation projects, such as the Medarot 3 or the Medarot 4 projects. Right now, Medarot 3 is still making incredible progress in leaps and bounds, mostly just text that needs translated down, just a couple misc menus and screens. Medarot 4 is still undergoing decompilation, as there's still more effort towards 3 right now, and same can be said for the Medarot Reloaded manga, as we have all the chapters, but no one to clean or translate them. So that being said, if you would like to assist with any of these, definitely reach out to me, or join us in our community in the Discord link provided below to keep an even closer ear to the ground on the action and keep up to date with anything to do with Medarot. If you would like to assist, again, feel free to reach out. We'll get you in touch with the right people that can fill you in on what has been done and what still needs done up to date. Now, at the weekly art highlights here on the MNN, honestly, I really never ever am at a loss for pieces of art that I can find. Not just on Twitter, but also on DeviantArt occasionally, or even on Pixiv, or even every here and there on the Facebook group that I do also manage for that. But this week in particular, I did want to highlight this piece here by Twitter user Madama Usagi, who I do like to highlight every now and then, showcasing this wonderful art of Basalt, the black, representing Genbu, the black tortoise. And even though he is relatively on the slower side compared to other big shields such as Virgo or especially Jackal in many cases, he still is a very heavy tank to be found. And if you did manage to collect him, and you'd never quite had the opportunity to snag Virgo or Jackal, you really can't ever go wrong with the fantastic shields and bulk that he offers while he's on the field. This piece here, also by Twitter user Bamboo Ciano, I do highlight also relatively frequently, highlighting the new witch-type model we got this previous week, Fancy Pearl, with a very cute design of focusing more on the heavy magical girl aspect. Also, fun fact I wanted to mention, and not a lot of folks really thought about it at first, even to the point that the official Medarot Twitter had to actually make a 3D turnaround of the model. The twin tails in the back of her head actually aren't connected to her head, interestingly enough. It's a visual illusion where they look like they are, but they're actually attached to the back via brackets. So a very unique art style and choice there that actually makes her just a little more unique than just, say, having floating twin tails on the back of her head. So as mentioned, definitely give both of these artists a follow if you'd like to see more Medarot art in your feed. You most certainly will not be sorry to see them. But with all that being said, I do believe that covers everything for this week's episode. So once again, I do appreciate you all for stopping by, just as you always do. If you'd like to know more, you can follow us below on Facebook at the Medarot News Network page or the Metabots Forever community on there. You can also join us on Discord in the link provided and in the comments below if you'd like to keep an even closer ear to the ground on the action. This includes any new merchandise, fan art, translation updates, my weekly episodes. That Discord channel is going to be the first place you hear anything before it goes anywhere else. You can also reach out to me personally on Twitter at IsagamiKura, so if you have any questions, feedback, comments, or even would just like to stop in and say hello, I leave my DMs open for that very specific reason. So don't be a stranger, drop in and say hello, and I'll get back to you whenever I can. In addition, if you are a streamer, VTuber, or YouTuber, or some kind of content creator and would love to collaborate or make something happen, I would absolutely love to do so with you. So feel free to reach out as well, ask about the possibility and what you'd like to do, and we can most certainly make something happen with a coordination of schedules. Lastly, do also give these wonderful friends of mine a follow as well. Twitter user UC Sachinachi, who's very well known for focusing a lot of Unity and Unreal Engine stuff for I believe a game that they're working on developing, and very well, most notably known for the Medarot remixes that they put both on Nico Nico's website and as well recently on YouTube. Fantastic Medarot covers. You absolutely will not be sorry going to check them out or follow them. In addition, do also give my buddy Lux a follow as well at Medarotter Lux, who, much like me, kind of likes to take an outside view as to what the Medarot S and Medarot channels officially like to release or talk about, or even just stuff to do with the game in general, and post a lot of blogs and feedbacks on those. So if you'd like to see it more from the source there in Japan, definitely give Medarotter Lux a follow as well. But with all that being said, as always, and as I said, I do appreciate you all for stopping by just as you always do. And until next time, this is your host, Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.